is something that I'm going to be covering in this next section. And if anything, I really want you guys to sit up and listen, or lie down and listen, however you best learn, and start taking notes. Because if you take away anything from this program, I want you to take this and really hear this part. This is where we're actually getting into the program. It's we're going to be talking about the two basic true causes of acne and why they really happen. The first cause is imbalanced hormones, and the second cause is overload of toxins. Now, to really cure acne, you really have to understand these two concepts. And again, I'll say them one more time. The first cause is imbalanced hormones, and the second cause is an overload of toxins in your body. Now, to really get down to how we can solve these two basic causes of acne, we're going to have to learn why it happens, why acne happens, where your acne came from, what you can do about your acne, and how to do all the things that I'm teaching you, how to do it right, and also how to never fall for another acne wash, dermatologist cream, pimple treatment, laser therapy ever again. So I'm going to be covering these things again. Why it happens, where it came from, what to do, how you can do it right, and how never to fall for another false advertising scheme ever again. So you can spend 30 seconds in the bathroom just to wash your face with soap and water and skip out on washing your face and just be yourself. So the basics of why acne really happens, the basics of a pimple is basically a combination of, we're going to be talking about oily skin, dry skin, blackheads, and whiteheads. So what we really need to define these key terms first, because, and if you know this part of the section, it's always good to have a review, but if you don't know, it's very important for you to really understand the basic terms that everyone's talking about when it comes to acne. The first one is oily skin. So oily skin is really just overactive sebaceous glands. It's your face looking very shiny, and oftentimes there's maybe a layer of oil, and you maybe have to get one of those wipes that I used to have to use a lot of, and you wipe your skin all the time to absorb the oil. Dry skin is, you might be feeling your skin very tight, it might be very itchy or flaky, and you might be scratching it all the time because it's very dry. There might even be cracks in it because it's so dry that your skin starts cracking. So that's what I usually define as dry skin. Blackheads and whiteheads are something that I think most acne sufferers actually have. Whiteheads are when you do sometimes have overactive sebaceous glands, or you do have something clogging your pores. It's basically, it looks like a little bit of a dome. It's a little bit of a, kind of like a white Play-Doh, tiny little white Play-Doh. Sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's softer, lodged into your skin, and you can squeeze it out sometimes, and it's the reason why your pore is clogged. A blackhead is when that white head touches oxygen and it becomes oxidated. And oxidation is basically just like if you've ever cut an apple and you've left it on the table, maybe in the open air, or maybe you left it in your refrigerator, and then you come back maybe a day or two later or several hours later, and you notice that apple starts browning. And the reason why is because when the inside of the apple touches oxygen, it becomes oxidated, and it changes the molecular structure, and it basically starts spoiling. And there's different chemical reactions that generally happen with different kind of food elements. But when your whitehead touches oxygen, it turns to a blackhead. So it doesn't really mean that it's any worse as of now. It just means that, you know, if you're really light-skinned, blackheads probably stand out a lot more, and if you're really dark-skinned, then whiteheads may stand out a lot more. And if you don't know what a pore is basically those little holes on your skin. It's what allows things to be absorbed into your skin, and it allows your skin to breathe. So things go in and out of your pores, like we have millions of pores all over our bodies. It's where the hair comes out of, in our skin. Your pores are also on top of your hair. It's where your hair grows out of. And when you run and you sweat, water comes out of your pores because your body is trying to cool itself through the sweat. So you produce water, and then the water evaporates off your skin, and that produces a cooling effect. That's a function that your pores do. Another thing is when you put something like lotion or vitamin E or something like that on your skin, it's absorbed through the little tiny holes that are called pores in your skin, and your body absorbs it and it gets nutrients like that. So moving on to the first cause of acne, the first basic cause of acne, imbalanced hormones. It's all about balance in life. Now I think whether we know it or not, I think we all subconsciously kind of do it in the back of our heads. We all do this to a certain degree. When we learn something new, we kind of take it and then we run with it. We go way overboard, right? So maybe you learn that drinking water is really good for you, right? And so maybe you didn't drink water before. Maybe you loved juice before, and you suddenly learn that juice is bad and that you need to drink more water. So people oftentimes go from one extreme to the other extreme. And that's something you really don't want to do. You really want to learn how to balance. But what, in fact, most people usually do when it comes to, let's just say, water, is that they don't drink any water throughout the day. Maybe they don't drink any water at all, or everything that they drink is juice and carbonated soda, or some sort of smoothie or something like that. So they learn, okay, I should drink water. And they take it way overboard, and they're drinking as much water as they can. And they're using the restroom like 30, 40 times a day, and it's just beginning to seem really ridiculous, right? But in fact, if you drink too much water, you can actually die from loss of electrolytes. In fact, I think if you go online and you look up an article, you can find there was a woman who actually died from drinking too much water. The story is that she was in a contest where she had to drink the most amount of water. This is when the Nintendo Wii first came out, and she was competing with these other people who can drink the most amount of water, and she won. She drank like I think a gallon or so or something like that. She won, and she won the Wii, and then she died. I think she was winning the Wii for her son or something like that. It's a sad story. But she died because of loss of electrolytes, because she's just flushing everything out of her body that she died. So I think that was one of the most popular articles because it sounds so ridiculous, and it seems so sad that she died like that, but in fact, it's one of the examples that I like to use where even water, something that's like a main ingredient in our bodies, even that can kill us, because too much of anything is bad. Too little of anything is bad too. So life is really all about balance. If you sleep too much, if you play too much, you work too much. If you sleep too little, you play too little, you work too little. You eat too many vitamins, you eat too little meat, you eat too much vitamins, you can get vitamin toxicity. If you eat too much red meat, you can get tumors and cancer. And drink too much water, you can die from loss of electrolytes. It's all about balance, and it's all about calibration. Now, when I teach you a lot of these principles, what a lot of people are going to do is they're going to take these principles and they're going to run with it. And that's not good. What I really want you to do is I want you to balance, and it takes time, so you may need to watch this video several more times or call me up for a consultation if I'm still doing consultations at that time, because I might end up stopping that in the future. But I really want to emphasize the critically important principle of balance, and how everything is balanced, and no matter how well you think that this is good for you, it's really about listening to your body and listening to what is balanced for you. So what's balanced for you might be balanced differently for somebody else. You might need such and such sleep, 6 hours sleep, somebody might need 8 hours. It's all about balance for you. Okay, just because it's good for them, 6 hours, doesn't mean necessarily it might work for you. So in some ways though, our bodies are very similar. We operate with the same kind of hormones that generally get us going, wake us up in the morning, cause us to break out, but in some ways our bodies are different. The ways our bodies are the same are a hormone called androgens. And what androgens do are they influence and they regulate the function of many of our organs, including the reproductive tract, our bones, our kidneys, our livers, and our muscles. Now, too high levels of androgens can actually result in serious health problems, such as insulin resistance, therefore causing diabetes relating to your blood sugar level, high cholesterol, high blood sugar, high blood pressure, and heart disease. So when you have too low of androgens, you can actually have impaired sexual function, decreased well-being, fatigue, loss of bone mass, low libido, and a lack of desire for intimacy. So the really important thing is that our bodies are, while they are different, we have to learn what things help us balance the things that are same, the chemicals that work within our body, for example, androgens. So we have to learn what balances our androgens that work the same within our bodies. And if it's confusing for now, I'm going to get to that more. But basically, when your hormones are balanced within yourself, when you have balanced hormones within yourself, you won't have acne. But when your hormones are in balance, when things are off scale, you will start breaking out with acne. And I think really good examples that we can look at are generally people who go through puberty where their bodies are changing, and if they already have imbalanced hormones, we have directions firing all over the place, and weird things can basically happen. And I think the second example that most people don't really think about is pregnant women. It's actually amazing that a lot of pregnant women get acne. They also get this thing called gestational diabetes, but that's another thing. But when a woman gets pregnant, her body grows much larger because she has to house a baby, right? And her body changes in many different kind of ways because she has to feed the baby and she has to create a womb for the baby. She has to carry this baby around for 8 or 9 months, and her body is changing dramatically in just less than a year. And oftentimes if her hormones are imbalanced and she's not perfectly balanced and healthy, then we can see serious weird things happening because she may break out with acne. So therefore, the really important thing is that we learn that the real goal is balance. And when you can achieve balance, you can achieve clear skin. So I think a lot of people who have experienced acne for a long time, they hear about this hormone thing all the time. So hormone this, hormone that, your hormones are balanced, like you need to balance your hormones. What are hormones really? Right? Have you ever thought about that? Like, what exactly are hormones? Why do they need to be balanced? And how can I get this balance? Like, can I just go out and take some hormones? Like, am I lacking this hormone, so I'll just take some more of it? So like, is there a scale in my body? Like, if I eat some more, it'll just drop down to my left side and like tip over the scale so it's balanced? Like, what is balanced? What is hormones, and what do these things do? Yeah, it's funny because I actually never really asked that question when I had acne, and I wish I did earlier because I probably would have been able to save myself a lot of time. But in fact, hormones are your body's messengers, and they're pretty much the instructions of your body. So in a lot of ways, you can kind of think of hormones being the mailman or your mail. And if your hormones are out of balance, then it's kind of like your mailman being not that bright. He's kind of imbalanced. He's kind of like on drugs or something like that. And he doesn't really know where to deliver what message. So he's delivering the wrong mail here and there, and people are getting wrong bills. And like, oh, I need to pay $5,000 for my water bill, or like someone else is like, oh, I don't need to pay anything for my water bill. But while they're like people are getting all sorts of weird mails, or credit card statements are all getting matched up. People are getting love letters from when they're already married, and it's causing all sorts of drama in their families, right? It's like, what? Who's this letter from? I can't believe you've been cheating on me all these years. And the husband's like, honey, I don't even know that's not I don't know that woman. The mailman, and she's like, oh, I don't believe you. It's causing all sorts of divorces. The economy's freaking out. So, as you can see, the mailman holds a lot of power, and a lot of weird stuff can happen when the mailman starts delivering random mail to random things, because maybe he's got weird instructions from his mail telling him that he should change jobs, and he's all over the place. Our hormones are the same. They're pretty much the mailmen of our bodies. They walk around, they're basically the mail delivering all these messages all over the place of, okay, do I need to produce such and such in my sebaceous glands? Or do they need to be very low active? Or do they need to be overactive? How much hair should I produce? Should I not produce that much hormones and then I start losing my hair? Do I need to produce a lot of testosterone so that I'm angry all the time, that I have a lot of sex drive, or androgen hormones? The hormones basically direct your body of what to do, how to feel, and should you feel happy, should you feel sad. They're pretty much the directions of what's going on, when to do what, how to do what in your body. Now, when your organs are misinformed, you can have really weird things like overactive sebaceous glands, oily skin, and therefore you can have things like acne. And therefore, if we can get our hormones, the first basic cause of hormones, to work properly, we can correct the performance and therefore correct this imbalance, and therefore lead to correcting your acne, curing your acne naturally. Now, our goal really for the first cause of acne is to balance our hormones and supply the body with hormonal stabilizing nutrients, kill all the acne bacteria inside and outside, and therefore stop acne. So one more time, our goal is to balance our hormones, and we're going to be doing that by supplying our body with hormone stabilizing nutrients, kill all the acne bacteria inside and outside our bodies, which are really tampering and messing with the hormone imbalance. And when we do these things, we're going to be able to stop acne. That's the first cause of acne. Now, the second cause of acne is toxic overload. So